theyeshiva.net.
Okay, Abit Morgan Yidin, welcome, Ruchim Abayim. Dav Beis, Amud Beis, Pesachim, Dav Beis, Amud Beis. Let's Teshura, the last line on the bottom, 2 dots, Meis v'mazutra. Let's recall the entire discussion here. The Mishnah of Pesachim began with the words Oylar Ba Asar, Voidkin Asachametz L'Oyer Haner. The Oyer of the 14th, you check Chametz with the light of a candle. And immediately the Gemarah wanted to know, my Oyer, what does Oyer mean? We know what Oyer means. Oyer means light. But what does Oyer mean in this context? Oyer, the light of our Ba Asar. The Gemarah quoted the two opinions, Rav Huna and Rabbi Yehuda. Rav Huna Amar Nighi. Rav Huna says that Oyer means light, and Rabbi Yehuda says Oyer means Leila, Oyer means night. So the Gemarah said, Kasal Kadaitach, the way we understand this initially, as we're going to see, it's all going to be changed at the end. But the way we understand this initially is that Rav Huna meant literally, Nighi light. Oyer means light because Oyer means, don't understand Oyer as the night of the 14th, but understand Oyer as Nighi as the day of the 14th, when 14 becomes bright, not when 14 is dark, meaning not the night of 14, Layla, but in contrast to Rabbi Yehuda, he means mamish, that b'dikas chametz has to be when 14th, early in the morning, as Rashi says, kishayoyir hashachar, shachris shel yudalit, when dawn breaks in the 14th, that's when you have to do b'dikas chametz, right? That was the Gemara's initial understanding of the machlokes between Rabbi Huna and Rabbi Yehuda. And the entire next blot, Tav Beis, Amud Aleph and Amud Beis, the Gemarah was bringing proofs either this way or this way. So first the Gemarah deals with the Tanakh, with Torah and Nevi'im, and then on Amud Beis the Gemarah shifts to Mishnahs and Braises, Torah Shabbal Peh. The first proof was from a pasuk in Parshas Miketz, where the pasuk says, "Haboiker Oyer v'hanoshim shulchu." The boiker, the morning, which is Oyer. Apparently it means that boiker is Oyer, Oyer is boiker. The boiker, which is Oyer, Oyer means day. The Gemarah rejects it. That Oyer is not a noun, Oyer is a verb. Ha-boiker Oyer, when the morning became light, they went out. Only when the morning became light, meaning they didn't leave the first instance of dawn break, Aloy Sashach, when it's still pretty dark outside. They waited for sunrise. So that proof to Rav Huna, which would have rejected Rabbi Yehuda, was rejected, was refuted. It can work according to Rav Huna, no problem. That's not a problem. You could say it means ha-boiker or the boiker, which is Oyer, but it can work very well with Rabbi Yehuda. In fact, it teaches us even another lesson of Rabbi Yehuda, that la'olam yikanei sadam v'yetzi adam b'chitov, you should leave and you should come when it's still light, or when it becomes light, not when it's dark. So the second proof was from another pasuk. We have the exact opposite in Shmuel Beis, where the pasuk says, "Ucha Oyer boiker yizrach shemesh." Here, Taka Oyer comes before boiker, which would seem to me like the Oyer, which is boiker. The name of Oyer is boiker. The name of boiker is Oyer. That's exactly what la'asad lava is going to look like, the transition from night to day. And the Gemarah rejects that again and says, no, it could mean Ucha Oyer boiker yizrach shemesh when the Oyer is in a state of boiker, that state of time, which is dawn break, when it just starts getting light, that's going to be the state. When la'asad love, that time is already going to be zrichas hashemesh. It's already going to be the light in its full intensity. That's how much brightness there will be then. So again, the proof to Rav Huna was rejected. The proof to Rabbi Huna, according to Rabbi Huna, was rejected, and it could support also Rabbi Yehuda. Cha'er boiker is not a name for Oyer, it's again a description of a certain time of the day when the beginning of boiker emerges. So the Gemarah went to the third proof, which would be l'cha'era, extremely powerful, vayikra Elokim la'Oyer Yom. That was proof number 3 to support Rabbi Huna. Hashem called Oyer day. The name for Oyer is Yom. He wanted to give it a name, he gave it Yom. So when it says Oyer Arba Asar, of course it means Yom Arba Asar, which would again reject Rabbi Yehuda. This was a third proof to Rabbi Huna. And here the Gemarah rejected it by saying it doesn't mean he gave Oyer a name, it means he summoned Oyer. Kara, he called Oyer, El Fakde, he instructed him, to rule over the day, and the same is true with Choshech. Then came number 4. Number 4, for the first time, is a proof to Rabbi Yehuda. Hallelujah, kol koichvei or that we just said by Shachris. All the koichavim of Or should praise him. What are the koichavim of Or? L'cha'ira, Or means night. That's when we see stars. We don't see stars during the day. We see them at night. So the Gemara rejected it. Again, Or doesn't necessarily mean nighttime. Or it could mean koichvei Or, the koichavim that are light, the koichavim that brighten up, the stars that give off light. And the Gemara explained that the halacha would be that even the light of stars is called light in halacha. So that proof to Rabbi Yehuda was rejected. So how many proofs do we have in the meantime? We had the first 3 proofs to Rabbi Huna, which was Haboiker Or, the second proof, which was Cha'or Boiker, the third proof, which was Vayikra Lakim La'or Yoim, and then number 4, which was the other way around, Halul Kol Koich Vayar, to support Rabbi Yehuda. Then the Gemara goes to number 5. Number 5 again is in support back to Rabbi Huna. The pasuk says in Iyov La'or Yakum Reitzeach Yiktalani V'Avyin Abalayla Yikaganav. By the Or, the time of Or, the Reitzeach murders. He stands up and he murders. He kills the poor people, destitute people. At night he becomes a Ganav. We see clearly La'or is day, L'cha'ira and Laila is night, and the two are contrasted. Again, a support to Rabbi Huna. This is proof number 5 in the Gemarah. And the Gemara rejects that and says, yes, that could be the meaning, but the reason we use the word Oid is not to contrast it to Laila, is to teach us a halacha. And the halacha is that if you're sure that the Ganav is never going to kill you, for example, it's your father and you know that he loves you, then you're never allowed to kill him. And if you kill him, you're a murderer. You're even only shirtzach with all the penalties that are involved. But if you have a suffix, meaning he's coming to steal, but if you resist him, he may kill you, then ein loy damim. If it's balayla, if it's not sure, then it's a whole different situation. In other words, if it's clear, as the Gemara says, if it's like oy pshitalach, that on a fashas kaasi, and as most Mefarshim say, pshitalach means that you don't know otherwise, because usually if he's coming, he may be coming to kill, so then you could save yourself with his soul. But if it's mesapkalach, if it's night, if it's not sure, because why is it mesapkalach? Because he loves you, and therefore it's a suffix. So then he should be treated like a ganav, not like a ritzeach. So this was proof number. Halukah Kachvayer was number 4. This was proof number 5. Then we come to proof number 6 from Iyov. Iyov is cursing the night that his mother became pregnant, and he says that night Yikav La'or, it waits for light, Va'ayin, and the ayin, it never comes. It looks like again Or is day. Again a proof to Rev Huna. This is number 6. And the Gemara says no, he was cursing himself that he waits. He waits for light. It's not the night waits. So number 6 again is rejected. Then comes number 7, which is the last proof of Tanakh, of Torah Shebeksav Tehillim. Ach choshech yushufeni v'layla Or ba'adeni. So it seems like what? Laila became Or. Laila and Or are the contrast. So Laila is night and Or is day. So the Gemara says no. Once again, this is not a proof to Rav Huna to reject Rabbi Yehuda. Number 7, this is proof number 7. You can explain the pasuk completely different, which would support Rabbi Yehuda as well. That David HaMelech thought he was doomed. Not only in Olam Ha, he was doomed in Olam Haza, he was doomed in Olam Haba. Even Olam Haza, which is Laila, was full of darkness for him. And it turns out that Laila Or Ba'ad, even Olam Haba, which is Yoim, was full of darkness for him. And it turns out Laila Or Ba'adi, that even in Olam Haza, which is like night, he was filled with light. The light is contrast to darkness, and the Laila is contrast to Yoim. And there's absolutely no proof. So 7 proofs from Torah Shebeksav, neither was conclusive. Now the Gemara goes on to Torah Shebal Peh. The next is a Mishnah, and the Mishnah tells us, Rabbi Yehuda says, you have to be boidik, Or L'Arba Asr and Arba Asr in the morning. Or L'Arba Asr can't mean day, because he says Arba Asr Shachras. So l'chayr it's clear that Or is night in that Mishnah. And on this, the Gemara says, Shmamina. This is a proof. This is a good proof that Or is night. L'chayre, the sugya should have stopped here. As I said, Chidush Rabbeinu David, one of the Rishonim, explains, this only proves that Oir could mean night. So Rabbi Yehuda is not rejected. But Rabbi Huna is also not rejected. Why? Because Rabbi Huna could say it could mean, but that's not what Oir means. B'doichik, if you have no choice, okay, we'll say that people used Oir to describe night, al derech hatzachos, l'chidudi, or euphemism, lashon saginor, as an expression. But Oir means light. So the best way to interpret it is always as the time of light. Presumably that should be our assumption. Our assumption should be not night, but day. In that Mishnah, I have no choice. But here, I have a choice. I can say Oir means day. Rabbi Yehuda Taka says, you buy the Rabbi Yehuda, speaks about Dika 3 times. So therefore, Rabbi David says that's why the Gemarah is still mutching sich. The Gemarah is still struggling. So we have now proof number 8, proof number 1 from the Mishnah. Then came the next proof, the long proof, where the Beis says that when is our ba asar? Asar basiyas malacha, when are you not allowed to do work Erev Pesach? Rabbi Lezer ben Yaakov said from the time of Oir. Rabbi Yehuda says from the time of Neitzachama. Here we have a second proof to Rabbi Yehuda. And now all the proofs are going to be in one direction. All the proofs are now going to be in one direction. Not like the other proofs, which are the opposite direction. That Oir means night, and the Gemarah rejects it and says you can say Mishas Oir means what? Alois Hashachar. Versus Rabbi Yehuda who says Neitzachama. So the second proof, here there's no Shmamana, you could learn it either way. So then the Gemarah brought the Brisa that you light torches for Rosh Chodesh L'Oiri Buray on the Oir of the Ibor, which obviously means the night. That's when they lit the torch. And the Gemarah says that's a good raya. So this was number 9. This was 8 was Rabbi Yehuda, 9 was Rabbi Lezer ben Yaakov, and this is number 10, right? Yeah, Mahal Cheshbon. 8, 9. Yeah, this is number 10. And then the next one is rejected, that what the Kohen Gadol L'Oira has to be Mekadesh Yadav V'Raglav, which here L'Chayda we have finally a Mishnah which tells us, like Rev Huna, we have one like Rev Huna, but this is L'Oira, doesn't even say Oir. L'Oira could be a completely different Mahalach. That's where we're holding now. That's where we're holding, and therefore we had in the meantime one proof, and the proof was from a Mishnah, that Oir means night, which supports Rav Yehuda. We now come to the last 4 proofs. Yeah, the last 4 proofs we come now to. Psak the Gemarah, last line, that Beis Amid Beis. Meisvim Azutra. Actually, the right gear says Masav, because it's an individual. Meisv is plural, Masav is individual. This is one person, so the Kedukei Seifrim says Masav Mazutra. Mazutra asked the following question. He tried to refute Reb Huna. Meisiv, he tried to refute. So upfragin Reb Huna from a Mishnah Meseches Krisis. Hamapeles Oir L'Shmoinim Ve'echad. If a woman has a miscarriage on the Oir of 81, we'll explain in a moment. Beis Shammai Poitrim Mekarben, Beis Shammai exempts this lady from a sacrifice. Ubeis Hillel Mechayvim, and Beis Hillel obligates her to bring a special carbon for this miscarriage. This needs a little introduction. The pasuk says in Parshas Tazria, Halt Kap, when a Isha Kisazria, a lady gives birth, if she gives birth to a Zachar, to a baby boy, so for the first 7 days of the birth, including the day of the birth, there's a tumah, there's an impurity there. Let's say, just for convenience, the baby is born on Sunday, so Sunday through Shabbos, there is tumah. At the end of 7 days, she goes to the mikveh and she is tahor. The chiddush is the bleeding doesn't stop. But nonetheless, for the next 33 days, all blood is called dam toihar, pure blood, which means she could be together with her husband. It's not a problem for the next 33 days, which together with the first week is 40 days. Once 40 days are up, 7 days plus another 33 days. So you start counting from Sunday through Shabbos is 7 days. After Shabbos, she goes to the mikveh. From Sunday starts the cheshbon of 33 days. You count 33 days. Together you have 40 days. When day 40 is over, the night of 41, now she goes back to the regular system of the cycle of the body. For example, if she sees blood, she will have the definition of a nida. It's not anymore called dam toya, the blood of purity, which is a unique thing after birth. I should just say, this is how it was during the time of the Tanakh, during the time of much of the Mishnah and the Gemarah. as it's explained in Shulchan Aruch Yoreh Deah, because of our confusion today with blood, we don't treat it that way, and that's why, as long as it's bleeding, we treat it in a state of tumah until it stops bleeding, which is quite a while after the birth. Depends on everybody and the time of recovery, etc. But the strict biblical law is not very applicable today because of the confusion in terms of how to ascertain this type of blood and that type of blood. What happens on day 41? You're back to normal, back to the regular cycle, regular system, but she has to bring a carbon. Carbon Yeled is a special offering, time of the Beis HaMikdash, of course, a carbon oil and a carbon chatas on day 41, or whenever she could make it as soon as possible to the Beis HaMikdash. Granted. What happens if it's a female? Everything is double. If the female is born on Sunday, the tumah continues for 2 weeks, 14 days. In other words, it won't be over after Shabbos, it'll be over after the next Shabbos. Then she counts 66 days. So it's altogether 80 days. 14 plus 66, Shishim v'Sheshem, the beginning of Parshas Tazria. That's called Dam Toyar. During that time, the blood is considered pure blood, and she's not tummy as a result of the blood. She could be together with her husband. Day 80, it's over. 80 at night, we're back to the regular system. 81 by day, she brings a carbon, or whenever she can, a carbon oil, a carbon chatas. Now, what happens if she had a baby girl? She went to the mikveh after 2 weeks. She's together with her husband. She becomes pregnant again. Okay, if it's a full-term pregnancy, fine. You have 9 months and you go back to the birth. But what happens if she has a miscarriage? She has a miscarriage 50 days later. 60 days later, 65 days later. A miscarriage, Isha Kisazriya, V'yolda Zachar, is even a miscarriage. She also has to bring a carbon. What happens? So the halacha is that since she wasn't yet mechuyev in her first carbon, when does she become obligated in her first carbon? Day 81. And she had a miscarriage, say, on day 70, day 79, day 78 from the first birth. So the miscarriage is included in the first carbon. This carbon she's going to bring on day 81 includes both babies. The first baby that was born or miscarried, and the second baby that was born or miscarried. The second baby wasn't born. The second baby had to be a miscarriage because it's within a few weeks. Hamapelis. What happens? This is clear. What happens if she miscarriages on the night of 81? Hamapelis or l'shmoinem vechad. Well, I gave away the secret. But or l'shmoinem vechad, as we're going to see, is the night of 81. The or of shmoinem vechad. What's the halacha? Beis Shammai said she doesn't have to bring a carbon. Why? Because when is she obligated to bring a carbon on the first baby? 81 in the morning. At night, she had a miscarriage. So tomorrow morning, the carbon she's bringing for the first goes for the second also. Beis Hillel says no, she has to bring a second carbon. 1 carbon for the first child and 1 carbon for the second child. Because again, a carbon you bring also for a miscarriage, as long as it passed 40 days since Yitziras Havlad, because till then the fetus doesn't have significance to the point that it's called a miscarriage. It's a different definition, which is why this example is only brought by a female, not by a male. Because by a male, she has to go to the mikveh, and within 40 days, it's already not going to be a chiyuv of carbon, even if there's a miscarriage, because it's not this type of miscarriage. That's why the only example is brought from a female. I just brought a male to understand the context. Amrulan Beis Hillel Beis Shammai. So Beis Hillel tells Beis Shammai, what's the difference? 81 to day 81. You're also minded that if she has a miscarriage day 81 in the morning or in the afternoon, she has to bring a second carbon. So what's the difference? The to the day? In other words, what is Beis Hillel saying? In halacha, day and night work together. Just like day 81, you say she needs a new carbon, night also. And Beis Hillel adds, Im shiva loy l'tumah, lo yishva loy l'carbon. If the night of 81 is just like day 81 when it comes to tumah, why should it not be the same like a carbon? Meaning, day 79 when she sees blood, it's pure. Right? Day 80 when she sees blood, it's called pure. She can be with her husband, she's not a nida. What happens sunset, bein hashmashos, or night? After 80, when she goes into 81, everything changes. The old cycle is over, a new system begins. We go back to the regular menstrual, the regular system of halacha, the way we treat blood. When does that begin? The night of 81. In other words, the night of 81 is cutoff time. So, and the day of 81 continues that. So, just like by tumah, the night and the day are the same. Yishvaloi carbon should have the same halacha when it comes to a carbon. They're just like 81, she has to bring a new carbon. The same is true if she has a miscarriage the night before, she has to bring a new carbon. Midikabra Beis Hillel Beis Shammai, since Beis Hillel told Beis Shammai, Maishna Shmeinim V'Yechad Miyayim Shmeinim V'Yechad. When they say the words, what's the difference between Oir and Yom? Shmamina Oir Urtuhu. Obviously, Oir is night. Oir doesn't mean day or early morning. It means night. Shmamina. This is a proof. Let's see Rashi. Hamapelas Oir L'Shmeinim V'Echad. A few long Rashis here. Rashi explains the whole thing. B'Krisis b'Perek Kama. In Maseches Krisis in the first chapter. Perek Zayin. The Chaim alone, we have a pasuk, we have a halacha. The pasuk says, Zois Torahs hayoladas. This is the Torah of the mother who gives birth. Malamed shemevia karban echad al vladas harbe. This teaches us Zois Torahs hayoladas, that she brings one carbon for many fetuses. Even if there's more than one fetus, she can bring one carbon. Zois Torahs hayoladas. Yachol shetavi al aleder shalifnei melois, val aleder shalachem melois, carbon echad v'layoser. You would think that she would bring the same carbon on a fetus that was miscarried before melois. Before melois means before the end of the 80 days, and after Talmud loyma zois shem yolda la'achem melois kigoy shetavla l'soif shwayim shal nekeva. She went to the mikveh after 2 weeks of giving birth to a female girl. V'nisaber, she became pregnant. V'ipila, she had a miscarriage. Im toich maloyas ipila, she had a miscarriage within the 80 days. Then niftira b'karban echad, she's good with one sacrifice. V'im la'achem maloyas ipila, what happens to miscarriages? Day 81 or day 82 or day 85 or day 100, whatever. Kvar nischayva b'karban arishin kaidem leider shniya. She's already obligated in the first carbon before the second birth. Just like if a baby is born 9 months later, nobody says she just brings one carbon on both. It's a new carbon. If there's a miscarriage, unfortunately, 100 days, 200 days, whenever it is, a few months later, it's a new cheshbon, it's a new inyan. So when she's finished with the second birth, meaning when the 80 days of the second birth or the second miscarriage are up, if it's a male or a female, depends how much, Tavi shtei karbanas, she brings 2 karbanas. She brings 2 karbanas. Rashi says she has to wait till the end to bring both because her tumah continues. When you say she goes to the mikveh after 7 days or after 14 days, the blood she sees after that is pure. But the original tumah after the birth is only removed completely after the carbon. So therefore, if she has a miscarriage, let's say on day 85, right, and she still didn't bring her first carbon, so she waits till the end of the second malois, and she brings both carbonas. That's how Rashi learns. Tavish take carbonas. What of the miscarriages? On the night of 81, shekvar avra maloyas shalah. So the days, maloyas means the full period when the period of birth is over and she has to bring a carbon. It's already done. But the night of 81, you can't bring a carbon because you're not allowed to shech the carbon at night. No carbon was ever brought at night. Pasuk says, B'yoyim tzavoisoi, all carbonas had to be slaughtered and the blood sprinkled by day. There's no metzias in the world ever of a carbon that's brought at night. So night of 81, you never bring a carbon. In the morning, you can go bring a carbon. Frekt, Beis Hillel said, Beis Shammai says, she's potter. Why is she potter? Because the night is still before the time of the chiyuv of the carbon. Beis Hillel said she's chayiv because the day 80 finished. So Amalem Beis Hillel Beis Shammai, Beis Hillel mechayiv shtei karbanos, the la'acha meloyas karina boy. Or Beis Shammai poiter noyis of a carbon echad mefarish tamai. We'll explain the reason. Maish frek Beis Hillel, maish no shmeinu v'echad b'yam shmeinu v'echad. Halayat moedim lanu shem lo yipila alayla v'yipila lamacha shechayevus av shechayevus. Beis Shammai, you're minded to me that tomorrow if she has a miscarriage, she's going to have to bring a new carbon. So av shepila early shmeinu v'echad is chayev. So even if it's the night before, she should be mechuyev shelechol dav is mana yom ba'alayla shaven. In every issue in halacha, we compare the time of night to the time of day. In halacha, the day follows the night, and therefore it's one day. So just like by day she has to bring a new carbon if she has a miscarriage, by night also. Im shiva le'la tuma le'ishva le'la carbon bitmiya v'oid raya acheres. Says Beis Hillel. The hoyel v'shova le'la tuma. Since night 81 and day 81 are identical when it comes to the halacha of tuma, she'achki yisachama shel shmoinim damet ha'ir. Till sunset of day 80, her blood is called tired, it's pure. The moment she sees blood after sunset of day 80, the blood is impure, just like if she saw tomorrow. So why don't you make the same Comparison when it comes to a carbon. Shekeshem shem tapi l'macha tischayev, kach tischayev al avlad shel. Just like if tomorrow she has a miscarriage, she's mechuyev a new carbon by night too. That's Beis Shammai's Beis Hillel's second question. The first question is night and day are always identical. Question number 2, when it comes to Tumah, night 81 is a new cheshbon, right? It's all over. Day 80 finishes, Shkiyas Achama of day 80, the blood of Tara is over, and now if she sees blood at night, it's considered a regular case of Anida. A regular case of Anida with all of the halachas of Anida during a regular situation of a lady's cycle. So by night starts a new cheshbon, it's over. So by carbon, you should say the same thing. Lo yishvaloy le carbon. That what? That the moment it's night, it's already a new inyan. Now she had a miscarriage. Just like tomorrow you say if she has a miscarriage. She's mechuyev a new carbon. It doesn't go into the first child that was born. Why? Because it's day 81. It's not day 80 anymore. Now it's also day 81. It's the night of 81. And by Tumah you see that the halacha changed completely at the night. So carbon should be the same inyan. That's Beis Hillel's time. Zok Rashi, Utshuvas Beis Shammai b'Masechta Krisus Yishloya. Beis Shammai responded, and his answer, the answer of Beis Shammai is in the Mishnah in Krisus. Beis Shammai said, Loi, no. Im amartem b'yom shmoinim ve'echad. Day 80, when I say you need a new carbon, shekein yotzesol l'shar ru'uya lahavi b'carbon. Because this baby, this miscarriage happened when? At a time when she potentially could bring a carbon. The moment morning of 81 comes, she's mechuyev in the first carbon. So the second birth or miscarriage, he doesn't mean birth, he means miscarriage, cannot be exempted with the first carbon. She didn't leave yet. The chiyuv of the first child to bring the carbon. Why? Because at night you can't bring a carbon. So the chiyuv of the carbon didn't happen yet. At night you can't bring a carbon. When does the chiyuv start? Tomorrow morning. Tomorrow morning she already had a second baby. So when tomorrow morning comes and there's a chiyuv carbon, the second baby is included in it. By night, the second baby was born. There was no zman of carbon yet. The zman of carbon only starts by day. But Mela, Beis Shammai says, don't compare. If the baby has a miscarriage in the morning, 10 o'clock in the morning, already early in the morning, say 6 o'clock a.m. or 5 a.m., she became a chuyev in a carbon. On what? Only on the first child, because the second child is still in the womb. There's no chuyev carbon when the baby's in the womb. The miscarriage was later. When the miscarriage happened, the carbon already applied to child number 1. Child number 2 needs a new carbon. At night, there was no chuyev carbon yet. It was taka that night, you're right. But you can't compare. Lo yishvaloy le carbon. You told me, you wanted to bring a proof that it is the same. Because when b'negei the blood, we say, the night of 81 already cuts it off. It's already the next day. There's no proof. What happens if she has a miscarriage on day 79? Everybody says that what? She's now tameh for 7 days or 14 days. You don't say, it's dam toihar. You don't say that. When she has a miscarriage, it's a new cheshbon. And still, when it comes to carbon, she's included in the first carbon, even though the halacha of the blood changes. So the same way I could say, the night of 81, the halacha of the blood taka changes. What changes? From dam toihar, it becomes dam tumah, right? It's a different cheshbon. Like day 81, it becomes dam tumah when she sees blood. And when you get a carbon, it's still the same gather. Just like you do it in middle. Just like you do it on day 80, day 79. If she has a miscarriage, then it's a different halacha. And yet the carbon has the same halacha. This was Beis Shammai's refutation of Beis Hillel. Al kol panim, what do we see from here? Obviously, means night. Beis Shammai says, what's the difference? Shmeinam vechad b'yam shmeinam vechad. It's not an interesting are both the Pnei Yeshua and the Rosh Yosef say that it's not the derech of Rashi to quote the whole response of Beis Shammai. The sugya of the Gemarah here is just to bring out nothing else. Why does Rashi feel the need to quote the whole answer of Beis Shammai back to Beis Hillel? Not the derech of Rashi to bring every Mishnah and bring it here. It's not negayah to the Havana of the Inyan. Rashi could say in Masechta Krisus, Beis Shammai answered. He quotes the whole answer. And the Mishnah continues there. It actually doesn't quote The debate continued, weiter and weiter, discussed Shabbos, and Beis Hillel brought Psukim. Beis Hillel was refuted, and Beis Hillel ultimately brought a Pasuk. Rashi doesn't quote the whole Hemshech. So the Rosh Hashanah, the Pnei Yeshua say a very interesting word. You can argue that Oir means Alois HaShachar. Oir here means Alois, just like we said earlier, Rabbi Elazar ben Yaakov says, you're not allowed to do Malacha, Erev Pesach, Mishas HaOir. And the Gemarah says, Oir could mean dawn break. Oir could mean Alois HaShachar. I was haste. Oir Alois HaShachar. Beis Hillel said that what? That the night and the day are identical. Yeah? But you could say it's a chiddush of Beis Shammai. That Beis Shammai holds, when Beis Shammai says potter from a carbon means what? Even Netzacham. That's the chiddush. So when it says Amapelis L'Shmainim Ve'echad, Beis Shammai poitrin mekarbon, Beis Hillel mechayvim. So you'll say that is what? Means Alois HaShachar. Doesn't mean the night before. There's no proof that means the day. That means the night. Could mean the day. And therefore, there's no proof to Rabbi Yehuda it means night. Could mean Alois HaShachar. And here's a big chiddush. Because Beis Shammai poitrin mekarbon and Beis Hillel mechayvim. What's the chiddush? The chiddush of Beis Shammai is that they pater from the carbon. From what point? Netzachama. And Beis Hillel mechayvim. And Beis Hillel is mechayev. Then you have no proof.
Oh, why should the Shammai have a different?
It's a gewaldige chiddush that Beis Shammai should pater a carbon even if it was born. Even if there was miscarriage, Alois HaShachar would be a gewaldige chiddush.
Why should they pater?
Why should they pater? Because the zman of a carbon officially is Netzachama. Emes, the Mishnah says in Megillah, we learned before that b'di'evet, if you bring a carbon from Alois HaShachar, you're yoytze. But the zman of the carbon is Netzachama. So ad kedei kach, Beis Shammai would be a gewaldige chiddush. That you pater from a carbon, even if she had a miscarriage between Alois and Neitz, it's still considered a time that she doesn't have to bring a new carbon. If she has a miscarriage later, then everyone says you have to bring a new carbon. But then you could say means day, not night. Beis Hillel says you chayev a carbon by Alois, and Beis Hillel clearly says you chayev a carbon even earlier. But the chiddush of Beis Shammai would be you pater even which is morning. Even in the morning you pater from a carbon. That's what you might be able to say. On this Rashi brings the tshuva of Beis Shammai. What's the tshuva of Beis Shammai? The tshuva of Beis Shammai, that's why Rashi quotes the whole tshuva, that you can't touch this, and the Gemarah can't touch this. Because what was the tshuva of Beis Shammai? Tshuva of Beis Shammai was that what's the svara? At night, there's no chiyuv carbon yet. Right? So that's why you're pater. In the morning, there's already a chiyuv carbon. So if the miscarriage happened after, you can't pater. So Beis Shammai poitrin by oil, but not by day. But Alois HaShachar is already a chiyuv carbon. If it wouldn't be a chiyuv carbon, you wouldn't be yoytze. So it's clear from Beis Shammai's answer that you can't say means Alois HaShachar and still Beis Shammai holds your pater. Because the whole svara of Beis Shammai is what? That you can't compare the day to the night. Because by day, there was no chiyuv carbon yet. So if you have a miscarriage before, the new carbon in the morning is going to go for both. But once morning happens, there's already a chiyuv. Once there's a chiyuv, so then the new baby is not part of it. And the baby that you have a miscarriage after is a new chiyuv. When does the chiyuv of a carbon start? Emes, you have to be a carbon by Netzachama. But you're yoytze from Alois. That means the chiyuv is already by Alois. So you can't say means Alois HaShachar and still Beis Shammai holds pater. Because from the answer of Beis Shammai, his whole svara would be off. So clearly means night. So both the Rosh Hashanah and the Yeshua, that's where Rashi brings the whole arichis to explain why the Gemarah had to say urta is night. Shma Minah, this is finally a second raya. This is our second raya from a Mishnah. That is urta in addition to the first raya earlier with Rabbi Yehuda saying you have to b'dikas chametz mashas ha'or. Next question on Rabbi Yehuda. Meisve, a Bryce Yochel, you would think, it'll be much easier now if we take out a chumash, because it's now a few psukim. So usually people, when the Gemarah start quoting psukim, everybody just shuts down and Doesn't have to make sense, but I want you to understand. You can take out the blue chumash over there and pass me one also. Just give everybody one chumash. Turn to Parshas Tzav, please. You understood? You can ask. You can ask. Feel comfortable to ask. I don't want anybody should feel shy or embarrassed to ask. Trust me, you're not the only one who doesn't understand. I promise you. I have a lot of experience. You think you're the only one who doesn't understand. Everybody understands. Just because I'm screaming, it doesn't mean everybody understands. You can pass a chumash for me also if you don't mind. You're Shekoyach Rabbi Yaakov. If you don't understand, feel free to ask. Okay. If you can open up your chumash, if you have these chumashim, I don't know which ones you have. If you have these blue skinnier ones, it's page 301, right? Page, actually the bottom of 301. Parshas Tzav, Perek Zayin, Pasuk Tesvav. Leviticus chapter 7, verse 15. Perek Zayin, Pasuk Tesvav. Let's see a pasuk. Ufsar zevach teidas shlomov b'yom karbona ye'achel lo yanech memenu ad boker. The pasuk here is talking about a carbon toida. When somebody's life is saved from a difficult situation, a challenging situation, a person Chaim yeduchasela choyle yam yisura midbar arba chayavim lahaydas. The four situations you bring a carbon toida. Perek Zayin, pasuk Tesvav, Parshas Tzav. If you have the blue one, it's 301. Oops. 660 and the orange one. When do you eat the meat of a carbon toida? You eat it on the day that you bring the carbon. Don't leave it till the morning. That means you could leave it till the morning. This is why we say, we just said in the morning, hatoida, you remember? The El Nazir, right? Kachim Chalim, Shchitosim B'chol Makam Ba'azara, V'nechalim, B'chol Ha'ir, L'chol Adam, B'chol Meichel, L'yoim, V'layla. You can eat it by day. Let's say you bring it 10 o'clock in the morning. Eat it a whole day, and you can eat the meat a whole night. Ad boiker. Ad boiker. True, the Chachamim said till Chatzos because they were afraid, just like they said by Kriyas Shema, to do it earlier. People will fall asleep, and you'll miss Alois HaShachar, and you have to burn the meat. But initially, you could leave it till the morning. That's a carbon toida. Next pasuk. Vim neder in a dava zevach karbonai. If you're bringing a carbon shlomim, not a carbon toida, whether it's a pledge or neder, you made a promise, you want to bring a nedava. But yoim akriva yazivcha yeyachel. You should bring it. You should be at makriv. Bring it. Eat it on the day that you bring it. It could be eaten. Umi macharos, and the next day. Wow! So you have now 2 days. Whatever is left over, you can eat. Whatever is left over, on the 3rd day, it will be burnt in fire. Okay? I want to now learn with you the trop, because this is going to be critical now. The trop, remember, when they used to hear Kriyas HaTorah, nobody had Chumashim. There was only one Sefer Torah. Not everybody owned a Sefer Torah and stood in shul with a Sefer Torah. Today everybody has a Chumash, plus much more reading material. But then you didn't have any reading material, so Kriyas HaTorah was an experience of the ears, not of the eyes. That's why the trop was so important. The melody is what allowed Jews to understand the structure of every pasuk. We think trop is just, that's why the Balkaida has to get a few dollars. But the truth is trop, the cantillations, is the way you understand the Chumash. If you look at the trop here in pasuk Tazayin, yeah? And here is a snachta. Snachta is like a period. The day that you bring it, it should be eaten. Break. Now is a break. A semicolon, a period. And tomorrow, and tomorrow, and what's left over, you eat. Now he says, again, a break. And what's left over from the flesh, stop. On the 3rd day, it should be burnt in fire. Okay? Focus on this because the Gemarah is going to make a big thing from this. Now take a look at one more pasuk in Parshas Kedoshim, Perek Yud Tes. The beginning of Parshas Kedoshim. A few Parshas later, Perek Yud Tes. Mamish, the beginning of Kedoshim, Perik Yutes Pasik, Hey and Vav. Okay? Perik Yutes Pasik. V'chiziz b'chuzevach shlomim lasha. When you offer a shlomim, same carbon, l'rtzoinchem tizbachu. Excuse me, Perik Yutes Pasik Vav. B'yoim zivchachem yeyachel umimacharos. See the difference? On the day when you slaughter it, it should be eaten, and tomorrow, which makes a lot of sense. Eat it today and tomorrow. If I bring a shlomim now, 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock in the morning, I eat it today, and I can eat it tomorrow. Obviously, I can eat it the night in between, because if I can eat it today and tomorrow, it's not going to become puzzle the night in between. So I can eat it today, I can eat it tonight, I can eat it tomorrow. Whatever is left over till the third day, Beis Yisarif has to be burnt in fire. Do you see where the snachta was here, and where the snachta was in Parshas Tzav? In Parshas Tzav, where was the snachta? B'yoim akrivaya zivcha yeyachel umimacharas is a new sentence. V'hanoisar mimenu yeyachel. Here is an andemaisa. B'yoim zivchachem yeyachel umimacharas. Oh, this is important. When you're listening to Chumash, remember we have Chumashim, so it ruins everything. When they were listening, all they heard was words with nigunim. And how the nigun was said taught them where you have to pause, where it's a sentence, where it's a new sentence, where it's connected, where it's disconnected, and so forth. So now we have two descriptions about the same carbon. That's why we also said in the morning, can you pass the siddur, the right in front of you, there's a red siddur. Ezal Mekayman, which is from Zvachim that we say every morning before Haidu. We say Ezal Mekayman, which is basically the 5th chapter of Masechta Zvachim. So we say Hatoida, Ve'el Nazir, right? As I said, Ne'cholin liyoyim ve'layla ad chatzos. If I bring it this morning, I can eat it today, I can eat it tonight, till midnight. Really, you can eat it till the morning, but the Chachamim said till chatzos. I explained to you because people will fall asleep. The next paragraph is Shlomin, a carbon Shlomin. Kachim Kalim, Ne'cholin b'cholei means the whole city. L'chol adam, anybody can eat it. A man, a woman, a child, a kohen, a levi, a yisrael, you can share it with guests, it's fine. B'chol machal, any way you want. You can cook it, saute it, fry it, broil it, barbecue it. L'shnei yamim v'layla echad. 2 days and 1 night. Meaning if I bring a shlom this morning, 9 o'clock, I can eat it today, I can eat it tonight, I can eat it tomorrow a whole day. Shnei yamim, because it says only on the 3rd day I have to burn it. So I have 1 night and 2 days. Today, tonight, and 1 more day. Versus the carbon taida, I only have today and tonight, because the pasuk says clearly, Lo yaniach mimenu ad boiker. You eat it that day. B'yoyim karbon ad boiker. That's how the Chazal obviously knew this, and they set it up in the Mishnah. Now, what does this have to do with our sugya? So let's see. Meisva, we have a brace. Yachol yehi nechol or lishlishi. Here's the question. It says I'm allowed to eat the carbon shlom the day I bring it. It says the next day. It says I have to burn it on the 3rd day. What about the 3rd night? I can eat it today, I can eat it tonight, I can eat it tomorrow. Can I eat it tomorrow night? Yachol yeinechel oir l'shlishi. You might think you're allowed to eat a carbon shlomim on the oir of the 3rd day, v'dinhu. And I would say it's a din. A din means what we call a binyan av. It's a paradigm. It's logical to say that. Why is it logical? Because we say, let's look at the mahalach of Torah. Din means a logical law that we assume based on the mahalach. We call it a binyan av. It's one of the ways we interpret Torah. Rabbi Shmuel Leima b'shloish esrei midas. After Ezal Mekayman, we have Rabbi Shmuel. Kal v'chaim exeirish of a binyan av. Binyan av means the paradigm, or what we call in English a paradigm. A binyan, a foundation of a father. It's called a prototype, an archetype, an archetype. Meaning you see a certain premise in Torah and you compare it. V'dinu, it makes sense. Zvachim, other karbanas like a carbon Torah, nechalim liyoim echad. Torah says eat it for 1 day. It says clearly, biyoim karbana yach. Ushlamim nechalim l'shneyam. Shlamim get an extra day. They get 2 days. Malahalon laila achar yoim. Afkan laila achar yoim. Just like by the carbon Torah, the Torah clearly says, biyoim karbana. Lo yaniach ad boiker, meaning the night follows the day. Here too, the night should follow the day. The Torah says you're allowed to eat it for 2 days. Extend the night. Itaka doesn't say clearly about the night, but it would make sense. Torah is not very explicit. As we know, a lot of things we have to learn out from nuances, but this makes a lot of sense. You're right. Talmud Loimar, in order to refute this thought, the pasuk says, the last pasuk that we just read, V'chisiz b'chu zevach shlamim l'Hashem, b'yoyim zivchachem ye'achel, umi macharas, v'hanoisar ad yoyim. So he teaches, ba'oid yoymu nechol, v'einei nechol la'or shlishi. What does this mean? Go back to that pasuk vav in Parshas Kedoshim. We're gonna now have to alternate between the two psukim. But go to Parshas Kedoshim. It says b'yoyim zivchachem ye'achel, umi macharas. Now let's remember a klal. In Chumash, there's another difference. There's no nekudas. Sefer Torah was written without vowels, without nekudas. We read it with nekudas, but it was written without nekudas. This is not stam. It's important because every word is interpreted based on how it's written and pronounced, and based on how it could be pronounced. It could be pronounced. For example, it says Besukos Teishvu Shivas Yamim, right? But if it's without a vav, you can also read Besukas. That's important. When it says V'hanoiser ad yoyim hashlishi, it means what's left over till the third day. But how do you know you have to pronounce it ad? Maybe oid. The answer is, well, that's Torah Shabbal Peh. When Moshe gave the Torah, he taught Jews how to pronounce it. That's why, There could be a vav, but a vav is you could put in a vav, you could put in you could put in a vav, but even without a vav, if you have a chaylim, it works. Yeah, which is how we know there's such a thing called Torah Shabbal Peh. Because without Torah Shabbal Peh, there's no way of having contact with Chumash. Everything becomes so confusing. Besides not understanding most of the psukim, it says Lo sevashal gedi b'chalev imay. Don't cook a goat in the milk of its mother. I'll read Lo sevashal gedi b'chalev imay. Don't cook a goat in the fat of its mother. Meaning you're allowed to eat meat and milk. It's not a problem. You're not allowed to eat meat and fat. No, prove me that I'm wrong. Bachalev, bechalev, the same spelling. The only answer is Mesorah. Mesorah means it's a tradition how to pronounce Chumash. But the fact that it could be pronounced in a different way is important. And Torah Shabbal Peh will use that constantly. In other words, Torah Shabbal is so precise that the way it was written is so b'diuk, it was dictated by Hashem, so b'diuk, that everything you have to know forever in halacha is written in the code. You have to know how to interpret it. Moshe Rabbeinu wrote psukim that will include every possible situation. The Gemarah has an expression in Tainus, it's all hinted there. For example, this limud. What do I do night after 2? Am I allowed to eat shlam or not eat shlam? So the Gemarah, the Beis says, we learn it from here. It says, B'yom zevchachem ye'achel umi macharos v'hanoiser ad yoyim hashlishi. I can interpret v'hanoiser oid yoyim. Tomorrow I can eat what's left over as long as it's day. Now you say, 1 second. Where did you get this from? It says ad yoyim hashlishi. V'hanoiser oid yoyim hashlishi. Oh, so here we have to understand how this works. That's why I told you to look at Parshas Tzav. Because over there we already saw that the Mimacharas V'hanoiser actually goes on day 2, not on day 3. Go back to that Esnachta, right? B'yoyim akriva yazivchai ye'achel. U'mimacharas V'hanoiser mimenu ye'achel. That noiser goes on what? On the Mimacharas. Right? But you understand what I'm saying? You get it? I'll explain, don't worry. Yeah, I'm fine, I'll explain.
But if you read all, then Beis is...
No, we're not taking it out the literal interpretation. We're just saying this expression is also to indicate. How do we have a justification? Because of the previous pasuk. Take a look again. Pasuk Tezayin and Parshas Tzav. Slowly. If you bring a carbon shlamim, right? B'yoyim akriva yazivcha yeyachal. The day that you bring the carbon, it should be eaten. Now, I would say, how should it read if I wouldn't see the trop? B'yoyim akriva yazivcha yeyachal umi macharas. And the next day. Period. V'hanoiser mimenu, next pasuk. V'hanoiser, whatever is left over on the third day. Bird, that would have made sense, but it's not what the pasuk is saying. The noiser here is going on which one? On day 2, you see? There's 2 noisers. There's noiser when it's nothing to do with it, you have to burn it. That means it's left over. But there's noiser from day 1. Noiser from day 1 is also called noiser. Left over from day 1 to day 2 is also called noiser. That's what you see in this pasuk. Eat it on that day. And tomorrow, That which was left over from the first day, you can eat tomorrow. So day 2 is already called noiser. Which from here, by the way, we learn that the mitzvah is always to eat it day 1. If you didn't eat it day 1, you can eat it day 2. It's already called noiser, by the way. You still don't have to burn it. You can eat it. But it's already noiser. Because the mitzvah is to try to eat it the first day if you can. You can't always eat it the first day. You don't have enough people to eat it. And to eat in a way that's not healthy is nishkeninyan. It's achila gas, it's fakert. You're not allowed to eat it that way. So if you have to delay it 2 days, delay it 2 days. You want to invite guests. But it's already called noiser. That's why there's snachtas after ye'achel. Noiser is already Yom HaSheni. If so, the Gemarah says, when we come to the next pasuk, when it says V'hanoiser, even though over there it says V'hanoiser ad Yom HaShlishi, but we type like this, B'yom zevachem yachal u'mimacharas. But we're going to use this noiser also for day 2. V'hanoiser oid yom. Whatever is left over during the day, you can eat it. True, it also means, of course, what it says. What's left over, he's not taking away the literal interpretation. But the fact it says, V'hanoiser ad Yom HaShlishi, which it didn't have to say it in that way. Because it already says in Parshas Tzav that on the 3rd day you burn it, right? So the fact that it says V'hanoiser ad Yom HaShlishi also teaches me that the noiser of day 2 you can eat ba'od yom. Ba'od yom unechel. You can eat it when it's still day. Ve'einoi nechel la'or shlishi. And it can't get eaten on the night of shlishi. Ad yom is like ba'od yom. Since we see that day 2 is called noiser, as we see in Parshas Tzav, why? Because the mitzvah is to eat all the meat on the first day. So therefore, even though here the trop don't work that way, the trop work differently, but we already see that day 2 is called what? It's called noiser, it's called leftover. So we touch. B'yom zevchachem ye'achel u'mimacharas v'hanoiser ad yom, and you eat it the next day. And this leftover, this noiser, oid yom, during the day, you could eat it during the day, but not the night afterwards. Okay? So now we prove that shlomim cannot be eaten a second night. Day 1, night 1, day 2, and that's it. You're cut off. Oy bazoi, let's think about it. So when should you burn it? Yochai oy bazoi yisarif miyad. So maybe you should burn it right after day 2. V'dinu, and again, we're going to make the same logical comparison. Zvachim nechalon liyom v'laylech, u'du shlom nechalon l'shneim v'laylech. Carbon toida you eat 1 day, 1 night. Shlomim you eat an extra day, right? A day, a night, and a day. Ma'ala, what's the din by carbon tamid? By carbon toida, teikef la'achila, streifa. Right after the time of eating, you burn it. It says, lo yaniach mimenu ad boiker, don't leave it till the morning. So you eat it by day, you eat it by night, and then when the cutoff time for eating, what do you do with it? You burn it. Carbon Pesach, it says, you eat the carbon Pesach by night, and in the morning, whatever is left in the morning, it says by carbon Pesach in Parshas Boy, v'anoiser mimenu ad boiker ba'esh tisroifu, meaning when you finish eating, that's the time to burn it, because there's nothing else to do. You don't just leave it around. So if so, afkan, take a flachilas reifa. Here too, we should do the same thing. Right after day 2, burn it. Talmud loymar, that's why the pasuk says back to Parshas Tzav, v'anoisim ipsar hazavach, ba'yoyim ashlishi ba'esh yisarif. Ba'yoyim atasorif, v'i atasorifoi ba'layla. In this pasuk, it doesn't say ad yoyim hashlishi. In Parshas Kedoshim, it says, v'hanoisar, ad yoyim hashlishi, whatever is left over till the 3rd day, v'esh yisarif. If we touch ad yoyim is oid yoyim, right? So you could say v'hanoiser, oid yoyim, you can eat it as long as it's day, and whatever remains, you can only eat it till the day. V'hanoiser ad yoyim hashlishi b'esh yisarif, whatever is left over till the 3rd day, b'esh yisarif, but it doesn't say when to burn it. It just says, if it's nicer, till yoyim hashlishi, you should burn it. Maybe I should burn it right away that night. But in Parshas Tzav it says, a new pasuk, and then by yoyim hashlishi, on the 3rd day, clearly the burning is only by day. Zok the Gemarah, mi de ka'amar, since it's very clear that what yehei nechel shlishi alma urtahu. It can't be nechel shlishi means you should eat it on the day of the 3rd. No one ever thought that you can eat a carbon shlomim on the day of the 3rd. Why? It says clearly you have to burn it. So when it says oir in the Beis, what does oir mean? Oir l'shlishi means the night of shlishi. Shma mino l'chayre, this is a gevaldik raya, that what? that Oir is night. Shma Mina. Finally, we have our third brisa proving Rabbi Yehuda Oir is night. Toshma. Now it's going to be easy. Relatively. Oir Shal Yom HaKippurim. The Oir of Yom Kippur. Mispalo Sheva. You daven 7 blessings. The night of Yom Kippur, what does Shemona Esrei look like? 3 in the beginning, 3 at the end, like every day. And then you have 1 bracha in the middle, the 7th bracha of Yom Kippur. Umisvada, and you say confession on your sins. Shachris in the morning, mispalo sheva, umisvada. Musaf mispalo sheva, umisvada. Mincha mispalo sheva, umisvada. Ma'iriv, mispalo me'yen shmoina asar. Ma'iriv, matzah Yom Kippur. According to this view, you don't have to daven the whole Shemona Esrei. They felt bad, you fasted a whole day. They give you 3 in the beginning and 3 at the end, and 1 short bracha called Havinenu, which includes all the 18 in one blessing. It's called Havinenu. Chanina ben Gamliel learned Mishum Avaisa. Chanina, the son of Gamliel, said in the name of his fathers, no, Mispalo Shmoina Aser Shleimus. We treat Motzai Yom Kippur like every regular night, but we do a full Shemona Esrei, and Neshetzarech Hav Loimer Havdalah B'Choinen Ados. Because one ought to say the Nusach of Havdalah, what we call Atachin Antanu, in the bracha of Chayin and Hadas, and of course in Havinenu, there's no room for that.
Why can't you add?
That's a good question. Even though you don't have Chayin and Hadas in Havinenu, but right after the words that reflect Chayin and Hadas, you should put an Atachin Antanu. But because Havdalah is a whole Nusach, it would seem like a separate bracha. And the Chazal were very makbid, there shouldn't be a separate extra bracha. So therefore he says, let's just do a regular Shemona Esrei. This is what Reb Chanina said. Alma, what do we see? Oir urtuhu. It says, Oir shal Yom HaKippurim. Can mean the morning of Yom Kippur, because he continues the morning of Yom Kippur. Obviously it means the night. Shma mina again araya. Now we come to the last one. Toshma, come in here. This is the last raya. It finishes, it seals the lid on everything. The Tani Devei Shmuel. We learned a brayso in the yeshiva of Shmuel. Leile arba asar boitkinas achametz la'oir aneir. The night of the 14th, you have to check the chametz with the light of the candle. Now, clearly, this is a brayso. The brayso comes to explain a Mishnah. It was taught in the yeshiva of Shmuel. It's almost verbatim our Mishnah. Our Mishnah is oir arba asar boitkinas achametz la'oir aneir. He says exactly the same word. He only changed one word. Oir became leile. Clearly, he's just explaining our Mishnah. What does it say in this brayso? That the Tanoim interpreted the Mishnah, the brayso which explains it. It says night. Alma oir urtu. Clearly, the oir in our Mishnah means night. This is the last one. You want to bring popcorn?
No,
we're done.
Should the start with it?
Why don't we bring that?
Was darf man sich so mutschen, you're saying? Was darf man sich so mutschen?
At least the first one right after the Pesachim.
At least the first one right after the Pesachim. This is ultimately, after this, the Gemarah quits. No need to prove anything else. We have a brayso that explains the Mishnah. It says Leile. It would be like Rabbi Yehuda Anasi comes to us and says, Chavre, relax. I wrote this Mishnah. Let me tell you what I meant. Stop this whole maisus here. Stop this whole fight, okay? Let me tell you what I meant. Genug. So that's the maskana. Stam, an interesting thing that I just realized yesterday. I was looking at the Gemarah, that if I'm not mistaken, I think my cheshbon was right. If you take out the one from Oira, all the proofs are from Oir. If you take out, there's only one from Oira, which the Gemarah says doesn't belong here, because it's Oira, it's 14 proofs. Oir l'arba asar, it happens to be 14 proofs. Because from Tanakh, I think there were 7. From Tanakh there was 7, which is, right? Tanakh there was 7. Number 1 was Haboiker Ur. Number 2 was Cha'or Boiker. Number 3 was Vayikra Lakim La'or Yoim. Number 4, which supported Rabbi Yehuda, was Halulu Kol Koich V'yor. Number 5 was La'or Yakim Reitzeach. That was number 5. Number 6 was from Iyov, Yikav La'or. That's number 6. Number 7 was Achoshech Yushafeni. That ends Tanakh. So that's 7, the first half. Then you have from the Mishnahs and Braises, you have Rabbi Yehuda is number 1. That's number 8, really, when you're talking about this. And then you have Rabbi Lezer ben Yaakov, Mishas Sa'ir is number 9. Then you have the torches on Rish Chodesh, La'ir Ibura is number 10. I'm taking out the one of Oira, where it doesn't say the word Oir. And then you have Marzuta that we learned today, the miscarriage. Oir L'Shmoinim Ve'echad, the night of 81, is number 11. And then you have the Karbonos, the Carbon Shlom on the third night is number 12. You have Yom Kippur davening is number 13. And the last one, Oil Haba Asar, is number 14, is this one, is the Braisa. This one, the Braisa. Stop. I think I'm not sure it's coincidental. It's for sure not a coincidence, but it's interesting. Number 14 with Oyer, it's 15. What do we see from here? Only this one proved it. All the previous ones didn't prove it. It said Rabbi Yehuda said du b'dikas chametz mishas ha'oyer, but the Gemarah still continued afterwards. Why? It says also there du b'dikas chametz, because that's not an interpretation of our Mishnah. That's the shit of Rabbi Yehuda. V'haraya, it says it in the name of Rabbi Yehuda. Our Mishnah is not quoting Rabbi Yehuda. That's the unique shit of Rabbi Yehuda. And some say Rabbi Yehuda says you need b'dikas chametz a few times. Or if he doesn't even mean that, but it's Rabbi Yehuda, you could say our Mishnah doesn't hold like Rabbi Yehuda. There's a machlokes. Rabbi Yehuda holds Oyer is night. Our Mishnah says Oyer is day. That's what Rabbi Yehuda will tell you. Rabbi Yehuda Taka says night. So from there, it's a nice proof. The Gemarah said Shmamina, because you see clearly that you could use the word Oyer for night, but it's not a proof what's pshat in our Mishnah. What did the Gemarah try to do with all the other Mises, with all the other Mishnahs and Brises? Show one thing. Don't presume Oyer means day. If it would be one Mishnah of Rabbi Yehuda, you could still say Oyer means day. But when you have a Maisa with Shas Oyer, Rabbi Elazar ben Yaakov, and you have Masuas is Oyer, and you have Mapoilis is Oyer, and you have Oyer L'Yom HaShlishi is night, and you have Oyer Yom Kippur is night. What do we see from here? We see from here that Oyer night is the regular way to go. It's not pshat, it's a unique thing. Over there we find Rabbi Yehuda says Oyer is night. Don't presume that Oyer means day. Rabbi Yehuda, that's a wrong assumption. V'haraya, Mishnah after Mishnah after Mishnah, Braisa after Braisa after Braisa, Oyer means night. It's not a yotzim and a klal. This is a much stronger proof to Rabbi Yehuda that it's not a yotzim and a klal. Rabbi Yehuda says, still say Oyer means day. That's the way to assume. That's the chazokah. When you have an exception, you have an exception. From here we see strong proof that the common terminology of Chazal was to define night as Oyer. It's still not a conclusive proof. Rabbi Yehuda could still say, okay, so you brought me another 6 rayas. Fine. Maskim that Rabbi Yehuda is not wrong. I still maintain that whenever you could say Oyer means day, say it means day. If you can't, you can't. My pilus, I can't say it means day. The miscarriage was at night. Oyer Yom HaKippurim, I can't say it means day. It means the night of Yom Kippur. The night of Shlishi to eat a Shlom, I can't say it means day. Because by day, nobody thinks you can eat a carbon Shlom. I have to say it means night. I agree with Rabbi Yehuda. But in our Mishnah, I maintain the normal way of using the term Oyer is when it's light outside, not when it's day, so not when it's night. So Rabbi Yehuda still can maintain his position. The slam dunk, if I could use that expression, lahavdil, the makeh b'patish, a better expression, the makeh b'patish that seals the conversation is the last one. Here, Rabbi Yehuda is stuck. I don't know when to use the word stuck. Here, Rabbi Yehuda is refuted. Why? What are you going to say here? Oyer still means day. The Beis clearly interprets the Mishnah. We see that Oyer means night. Here you can't say anymore it means day. Here we clearly say, Rabbi Yehuda can't say I know better than the Beis. The Beis was the Tanoim elaborating. What do you mean you know better than the Beis? Why should you distort the Mishnah? Here we're done. At this point we say that what? That Rabbi Yehuda is right, it means night. So does this mean that Rabbi Yehuda was completely wrong? The Gemarah says no. Our whole assumption, the last blot and a half, was wrong. It wasn't Rabbi Yehuda's fault, it's our fault. Why? The one who organized the Gemarah, the one who wrote the Gemarah, heard 2 traditions. Rabbi Yehuda said, my Oyer nigi. Rabbi Yehuda said, my Oyer leili. Kasol kadaitach. So he said, I think, what did Rabbi Yehuda mean? That you have to buy the chametz by day. So we started this whole, and Rabbi Yehuda means by night, so we started this whole shakla back and forth. Now that we see it can't that mean that, don't blame it on Rabbi Yehuda, blame it on us. We misunderstood Rabbi Yehuda. And this is what the Gemarah concludes now. Ella, Bein Rabbi Yehuda, Bein Rabbi Yehuda, the Kula Alma or Urto. Rabbi Yehuda and Rabbi Yehuda both agree Oyer means night. Oyer Arbasa means the night of Arbasa. But loy pligi, they never even had an argument. You concocted a machloikas out of nothing. What do you mean? Rabbi Yehuda said Oyer is nigi. Nigi means light. Noiga means shine. shining. Klipas noiga means shine. Nigi is shine. Laila, what do you mean there's no machlaikas? Marki Asre, you have to know where people live. Every person spoke the vocabulary of his place. You have to understand where people come from. People don't exist in a vacuum. Statements always come with a context. Where you live, where you grew up, how you speak. But Asre de Rav Huna Koronage. In the place, in the region of Rav Huna, when they wanted to speak about night, they used to say Nigi. The same thing the Mishnah does, Rav Huna did. Just like the Mishnah is speaking about night. And what does the Mishnah say? Oh, Rav Huna had the same minute. It was filster for that. You took a Maisa, means day. No. Rav Huna, they used to call night Nigi, which is Aramaic for Or. Just like the Mishnah. The Mishnah meg Rav Huna megnisht. In the region of Rabbi Yehuda, they used to call it day. I'm sorry, they used to call night. But Meila, when Rabbi Huna said, my Or Nigi, he just meant night. He was explaining to the Olam what is Or. So in the common vernacular, they used to call night Nigi, which is the same thing in Lashon Kodesh, calling night Or. And in the Asad Rabbi Yehuda, they called it Leila. So they were never arguing. So this whole Kosol Kedaitach, that's why the first line of the Gemarah was Kosol Kedaitach, Man da Amar Nigi Mamish. We think that the one who says Nigi means Nigi. As we learn, and then we have problems because of all of these places where Or means night. Now that we established, he didn't mean Nigi Mamish. He meant Nigi as a euphemism, as an expression for night. We have no problem. Reb Huna and Reb Yehuda understood the Mishnah very well. Or means night, like we see from the final Brisa and all the other proofs that it's very common. Even though from Tanakh we didn't prove it this way or that way, but from the Mishnahs and Brisas we did prove it one way. And Reb Huna is never arguing. There's Bechlal no machlokes. Everything is clear. Which now, of course, gives rise to the billion. I wanted to say million, but really the $1 billion question. You had to do this to me? You had to do this to me? Instead of writing the word Oir, what would have killed the Tana to write the word Leila Ba'asa, Ebetzevot Gestarben? And we could have saved 2 weeks. We could have been holding already Dav Zayin and you would have had more patience. Yeah, I'm just joking. But that's going to be the next discussion in the Gemarah that we will Be'ezer Hashem continue tomorrow. Have a beautiful day.
Even also, what?
Yes.
Even more so, the Pirush Hamili, it says all on there. So you can use the candlelight. Who can use the candlelight during the day?
Very good. We'll see soon. Amen. Alois HaShachar, you can use the candle. Amen. Alois HaShachar, you can use a candle. You understand? Verstanden? Alois HaShachar, it's still dark. So by dawn break, you could use a candle. So you could have said Or means early morning. Alois HaShachar. And Boitkin, you still need a candle. By dawn break, you could use a candle.
Right.
Understand? So that's why that's not a proof
So
that Or means day. That Or means night.
Doesn't mean it.
Or Haner could still mean morning. In fact, when Rashi brings first the opinion of Reb Huna, Rashi says, "K'sheyoyer hashachar shachar shel Yudalit." Dawn break of Yudalit you do by Dikas Chametz. That's why you use a candle. So that's not a proof. He's asking a good question. The candle proves it that it's not a proof, but that's not a proof because it could still be a Alois HaShachar.
I think you need a candle. Use a candle because
Well, we do it at night.
When you have to use the candle, or you need the flashlight. But what's the thing?
Okay, we're going to see. Basically, they instituted a candle because they wanted you should be able to be boidik in holes and crevices.
But you really can't use the flashlight.
You just need good light that goes in.
To one of the questions. Why by the Gemarah brings out and it says the Kiffer, separate all of them. Mincha,
Yeah.
He could say Mincha, all of them are the same. It's and he doesn't write about Nila. What's sort of Nila? There's no Nila in there, son?
No, there wasn't a Ilah.
He doesn't. You're right. Why do you write each one? Mincha part 7. You can say right.
Why does he just put them all together?
It's all. It's the same.
You should just say just say Ershe Mekbura Mispalo. Shachris Musaf Mispalo Sheva Misvater, right? Why does he do it separate? He wants to say Misvada. I think because if he would say it together, you would think that the vidu you only do once. He's not going to say Misvada 7 times.
No.
You understand? So you would think the vidu you do once.
Only one time at night in Zagazin.
Or whenever. So that's why he says Misvada each time, because each time there's a separate vidu. So Ne'ilah is like an interesting thing that this Beis is quoted here, but the same Beis is quoted in another 2 places, in Masechta Yuma and Masechta Nida, and over there they take put in Ne'ilah. Why the Gemarah deletes it here, I'm not sure, but the Beis is quoted with Ne'ilah.
Breises were written down?
Yeah.
At that time, it means they had it all over the place, so different kinds of breises, and to bring it in.
Yeah.
And now, if you
the
have
2k Seifrim says he has a lot of curses. He says that it's a mistake that it was deleted.
Shnayim, a lot of years, Shnayim Laila Echad.
Shnayim and V'Laila Echad.
What if you shechted with Benishmers or almost the night?
You can't shech Ben Hashmoshes. You could shech before Shkia.
Oh, that's what I want to say. You kill the.
You want to rub in a tam nisht?
No, I meant to say, I want to know if you leave about Laila, then you can't. It can't be 2 days.
You can only do shchita, and the zrika has to be by day. It's possible at night. You can't do. Nobody did it at night. You're not allowed.
And it doesn't go into it if you do it the minute before.
Oh, if you do it, yeah. If you did the shchita and the zrika by day, you could burn the fat by night, and then you could eat it.
You have to be finished before.
The sprinkling of the blood has to be before sunset.
About a day, and not by the shmurshas.
You don't do Suffolk Laila. The Beis HaMikdash, they were Koyanim's risen. They were on top of their games. And Nishka kratzt. By Lois HaShacha, they were already in the swing of things. And Nishka kratzt. By Neitz HaChama, they were done. They already done everything. Not everything, but close.
I had a friend told me in the old days it was good not to be a target person, because if you were a target person, a rich person, and you came with a little kelbula, they said, the guy didn't avera. And then Kohen used to say out loud, and somebody who is getting bright, he brought, Veit HaShluma, Veit HaToide. Yeah. You save yourself a little bit of
vicious. Some of the after roving in them, yeah. Nee, bis gerecht. Das ist ein Meint, war Neusad, Joim HaShlishi. So bleibt dir bis Joim HaShlishi davon verbrennen. Wir bald mezet in Parshas Tzav. Als Neuser geht euch auf Joim HaSheni. Der Teure nutzt die Werte, war Neuser Ad. Bei Meiles lernt man, als da in dem ein extra Limit. Als der Neuser von der zweiten Tag, bei euch Joim kämen essen. Da, die Trop stimmt nicht.
Nein, nicht der Trop, der Welt auch nicht. Wie soll ich sagen, der Welt noch?
Eine Genami. War Neusser Oidioim.
Und dann, ach, schlicht das so.
You're saying war Neusser Oidioim und Hashlishi be'eshi Sadaf, right?
I don't know, why did this one get Mitch? Can I?
War Neusser Oidioim. Joim HaShlishi, the Chaim zusammen. Joim HaShlishi.
Okay, look mal Adioim. Okay, jetzt verstehe ich, was wir tun. Hashlishi be'eshi.
No, I don't think the Gemarah means to take out
It's not a limit.
the Mikra Midei Pshutei. Punkt wie steht La'or Yokem Reitzeach. Es meint nicht L'maskana als nicht Kipshutei. Es meint Kipshutei, no, es meist auf ein Wort. Eben noch Meach. Und wir machen das, und wir haben Neusser. The leftovers is Oidiyah. Weil das ist L'chayre Miyusser. Ich kann schreiben anders, ja? Also wie schreibt in Parshas Tzav. Parshas Tzav, he just says, V'yoim HaShlishi be'eshi Sadaf, right? In Parshas Tzav, how does he put it? He puts it, V'anoisem epsar hazavach, v'yoim HaShlishi be'eshi Sadaf. From where we learned it has to be V'yoim HaShlishi, not V'nai.
The Adioim HaShlishi. He can jump, V'anoisem V'yoim HaShlishi.
V'choli. The Chayre, the Adioim is a Yitur. It's extra. That's B'pashtos. But Mela, the extra words. No, I don't think so. As I dachte.
Who put together the whole Gemarah? He said whoever put it together wasn't...
The two main people were Ravina and Rabbi Ashi, with a lot of students, but they were the two...
Yeah.
Who's going to happen after
the writing?
Who's going to
I'm sailing on it. It's a good Alangamais. Wie the Carbonis work.
Mega man the trop.
The trop? Time a mikra, yeah. Better call as I yeah.
Bigger thing than
Well, it was, if you read it every Shabbos, that was it.
Everything sounds simple. That was good.
No, we don't understand. Mizgezetz in the Shul Shabbos.
Die nach Chemusche, die nach
I know, it's Mashaba.
So good, ain't Sefer Torah. Everybody listen.
Du sollst mir gedenken, du sollst jeden gekannt, hat Kinder gekannt, das Stimme mit der Haare.
You used to know your mother's telephone number. You don't know it anymore.
Lange
Emes.
Meister.
You know your brother's telephone number. You know your sister's telephone number. Who knows a telephone number today?
But today you lose your phone, you don't know no number.
In fact, I'm gedenken.
Speed dial 1, speed dial 2.
In fact, people used to remember directions. Go 6 blocks, make a right, make a left. Who remembers directions? I gedenk time. You don't have to remember. Kolam Royim, is that the Chaltz?
Okay,
Yeah.
This class is brought to you by theyeshiva.net. Please help us continue the classes. Make even a small contribution at www.theyeshiva.net/donate.